Good, good. No complaints, you know. Day at a time. No, I said one day at a time. Always. But Julius Randle, first half of the season, I have to go with an A. I mean, he has literally been doing. I mean, he's A for All Star. Like he's literally an All Star this year. Like, and so to give him anything under an A would be blasphemous. Yeah. No, absolutely. And Dennis Moore, I mean, what is it that you think he deserves an A plus for? Like, because to me, A plus is literally like almost perfect. Like, because when I think of Randall, like I give him an A because he's been killing it this year. Yet it says we can't hear you. Yeah, they can't hear you for some reason. Well, that's what Warren Franklin said. Yeah, and I guess you have been talking to yourself this whole time. Oh, they said they hear you now. Well, that's what Warren Franklin said. He hears you. It's that Dollar Tree mic. Yeah, but you took me off the screen. All right, there we go. Oh, Ace. Yeah, Ace. Oh man, Warren saying you good now, bro. Yeah, I mean I've been hearing you fine. That's why I've been replying to everything. And Dennis Moore says A plus, meaning he's far exceeded expectations. You know what? That's fair. That's absolutely fair. I mean, like I
Yo,
agreed
yo.
with. Yep, I agreed with Sports by where in the beginning of the year I wanted Randall traded by the deadline. So he's definitely far exceeded expectations. The only reason why I went with the A as opposed to an A plus is because despite how amazing he's been this year, there's been issues where he's still taking poor shots, and there was even two games that I can recall that he cost us the game from his poor shots. So that's the only reason why I went more with A instead of A plus.
All right. Are the audio issues taken care of? Can you guys hear us now? Audio. Still no audio?
Damn.
Yeah.
Am I being? Are you able to hear me or not? Oh well, Dennis responded to what I said. So
Good to go. All right. We're back in business. So, chat, let us know
all right.
what your grades are for Julius Randle. You heard mine. Inf and I both agree with an A, but I feel like right now we're bickering on whether he should get that plus status. Ace Bezel says still can't hear? be nuts. Randle has been the only consistent player, and that's why I gave him an A. He definitely. Well, there have been some games, he has disappeared, but they've been far and few between.
Not like even on games where he's been okay. Like there's still certain shots that he just takes that are terrible shots, like in the fourth, and he misses them. So I can't just ignore it. But he's still definitely an A. I mean, he's an all-star. Like no one expected any Knicks player on this roster to be an all-star this year. So
I was hoping RJ would have been able to perform good enough to be an all-star. But yeah, I can agree with you. We didn't expect any of them to be all-stars. And chat, I agree. Julius Randle is performing well above expectations, and I'm hoping he can continue to carry this level of play throughout the second half. Because as we know, the second half is going to be pretty tough for this team. And if we're going to make it to the postseason, if we're going to make it to the playoffs, we're going to make it with Julius Randle carrying us there. And Inf, it's kind of crazy because when I started, I used to make videos and I'm like, yeah, we got to move on from Julius Randle. This is what we can acquire from him. And I think I posted one video and I said Julius Randle was our superstar, was our star player. And everybody was like, yo, that's crazy to really sit down and think. But, halfway through the season, I don't think anybody would argue against that point.
Not yet. No, I mean, because nobody saw this season happening, and so now when we look at reports about Randu saying that he wants to stay with the Knicks long term, like now I'm fine with it, because before I'm just like, nah, they better not get a long contract. But as long as it's not a max deal, if it's just like similar to the deal that he already had, where it's guaranteed 2 years, and then the third one we have like a team option or a player option, I'm fine with that.
I think with the way Julius Randle is performing, somebody's going to give him a max, to be honest with you. With the way he's been playing right now, somebody's definitely going to reach out and give him a max contract. It's all going to be whether the Knicks reach out to Julius Randle and try to extend him before he can hit the open market, or we're going to have to give him the bag. Citizen X is asking, does Randle deserve extension max deal? He is definitely underpaid right now. I think he's making a little bit more than 18.9 now because I think there was like an all-star bonus. So he got like 900K to $1 million. So he's making around 19, 20 mil. That's definitely underpaid for the production he's providing us. But I don't know if I'd hit that $30 million mark for him. What about you, Inf?
Oh, absolutely not. And again, he's an all-star. He's killing it. But I mean, are we gonna win a championship with Julius Randle as our best player?
No, highly doubt it.
Exactly. So I don't know. I mean, but nowadays team gives out max deals for literally any reason for anyone to anyone. Like,
I won't go that far. Inf. Victor
come
Oladipo
on.
begging for a max right now. I don't know if he'll get it.
I mean, well, right now just because of COVID, but before this, literally everyone was getting a max deal. Like people who had no business getting max deals. I mean, so I wouldn't be surprised if a team offers him a max deal, but I mean, on Randall's contract for the next year, it's a team option, right? So we have the option to just pick it up.
Actually, it's a
And
little bit different than just a team option. I was reading, and it's more so a partially guaranteed year. So because it's not an actual legit team option where it's either you have no guaranteed money or you do, because it's set up that way, we kind of can't extend him in the similar ways that we've seen other players get extended. It was real interesting breakdown. What I'll do is I'll try to see if I can find the article and post it in a video. But because the way they negotiated Julius Randle's contract to the point where it's a partially guaranteed deal, there's kind of some restrictions they have to, or the Knicks run up against if they want to extend him.
got it. Now I was thinking of it more along the lines of like if we're unable to negotiate extensions or whatever, like he still belongs to us next season for us to then trade him, and I'm sure his value is going to be sky high after this season. But I mean, hopefully we can figure something out where we retain him for a reasonable amount of money.
Yeah. Also, I want to say salute to Wayne Peterson. He's saying, I know you said you had Jackson Hayes on your fantasy team. Would you trade Noel and a second round for Hayes? I don't know if it'll even cost that much, and I'm a little skeptical. Well, I'm about to be a hypocrite because I dropped Jackson Hayes and I picked up Eric Pascal, and then recently Jackson Hayes finally started getting some more minutes. So like yesterday, I dropped Eric Pascal to pick back up Jackson Hayes, and hopefully he'll get some minutes to produce. But I like Jackson Hayes. I would love him on this team. He's practically the same player as Mitchell Robinson. They're both raw offensively, but with the athleticism and the length that they provide out there on the court, it's tantalizing, and you can see why players, or not players, but you can see why teams and other people around the league kind of liked Hayes coming into the league. It was just, I don't know if I would give up Noel because we haven't seen Hayes play enough in the NBA. At least we know Noel's going to go out there and give us 2-3 blocks. So to trade him and a second for Hayes when I don't really know what I'm going to be getting from Hayes, and I know that he's very raw offensively, I don't know if I'd make that move with the additionals. With Noel, the second rounder, I might give up, but Noel, I might want to hold on to for a little. Also, Warren Franklin said, "Oh, go ahead. My fault."
No, I was gonna say, honestly, I mean, being that Noel's on literally a 1-year deal and there's no guarantee that we're gonna keep him next year, I probably would take the gamble on Jackson Hayes just because he's still on his rookie deal, right?
Yeah, this is his second year.
Yeah, so being in a position where we can actually give him minutes to either, sink or float, I would take that risk because potentially his value could end up being higher than Noel's anyway,
True. I think he's
I
being blackballed too, if you ask me, after he violated the NBA last year because he didn't get picked to the Rising Star game. That was kind of crazy. How you come out and say that kind of stuff to your employer is ridiculous.
Yeah,
he's wild.
I mean, same thing with that Kevin Porter kid who they finally brought him up from the G League.
You think the Knicks should have took a shot at him? He's a head case. He's very explosive personality.
Tibbs ain't dealing with that. Like Tibbs ain't letting that fly. Come on.
Yeah.
Like if Tibbs was able to coach Jimmy Butler when everybody was talking about how mean or whatever Jimmy Butler was, I mean, I'm sure Tibbs can handle it.
Yeah. And another point to Julius Randle. Warren Franklin says we need another scorer. Tibbs is going to run Randle through the ground. We need a consistent small forward, knockdown points consistent. And I think that kind of factors into what D. Beer said right after, which is no, but we could use, but we could as our number 2 player. Now, if this is back to you asking me, could we win with Julius Randle as our star player? And yes, I think we could be successful with Randle as our number 2. And if we get another scorer to be our number 1, it would all depend on what player we're bringing in. A lot of the players that have been linked to the Knicks right now really don't have long-term success in the league. So it's kind of hard for me to envision us going out, acquiring them, and pairing them with Julius Randle, and then we're automatically just going to become some team that has deep playoff aspirations, especially when you look at the landscape and you can see some of the teams at the top. We still would not be competing with them. So, who do you think we could try to bring in as another scorer that'll try to get us into that upper echelon?
Well, I mean, before I answer that question, one thing I want to say is, I mean, because you did mention like the Knicks are tied to a ton of names, and Warren also mentioned Drummond being one of those names, who can obviously give us 20 points, 10 rebounds a game. I don't want him. I'm so hyped that I read a report that the Knicks want nothing to do with Blake Griffin. Like, I am glad for that. I feel like there isn't enough talent out there right now. There isn't enough talent out there right now that's not going to be extremely overpriced, because the only one who's, I mean, I can't even say they're talented enough to make us a playoff contender because they have not, like, they've shown nothing of that, but it would be Bradley Beal. And they've shown nothing. He's shown nothing of that because, I mean, what has his team done? What has any team that Bradley Beal has been on done? I don't know. And this is technically supposed to be his first year as the best player, or second year as the best player on that team since John Wall's been, sidelined. So I don't know. I don't think there's anything out there available right now that's exactly what we need that is surefire. All right, we get this, then we can really compete. I mean, but granted, because our division has straight up cheat codes like the Brooklyn Nets.
You call them a cheat code, then?
They're a cheat. I mean, they are a cheat code. They're a cheat code because there's no, like, even if we were somehow to get Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine on the Knicks with the exact squad we have, we're still not competing with them. Like, that's a cheat code right there. If you can get two of the biggest current free agent or potential trade people on your team and still not be able to compete with the team in your division, that team is clearly a cheat code. Like,
Yeah, D. Beer said all we need is a top level. Well, in order for us to get or compete at a top level, all we need is a sweet shooting wing. And I think it's gonna take a little bit more than that because you're seeing late in these fourth quarters, we need somebody that's not just going to be able to knock down the open shot. We need somebody that's going to be able to create for themselves as well. And I think that's a issue we saw with the team, not only late in clutch moments in the fourth, but also coming out of halftime when teams made adjustments. We really didn't have that go-to scorer to kind of rely on. So I think if we could get like an elite three, then we serve a far better chance as opposed to just getting a sweet shoot and catch and shoot three to kind of pair. But since we're gonna be sticking with the grades, let's move on to the next player that we want to grade, and we want to hear from you as well, chat. Emmanuel, quickly, and what grade are you giving IQ?
I'm giving Quickly a B. And granted, like a lot of factors went into him getting a B. One, obviously, his minutes, just because they've been sporadic, so it's hard to say, all right, well, for every 30 minutes he plays, he's definitely at least like an A minus. He's a B, and he's a B for a reason. He still has some streaky shot selection. Um, I mean, he's obviously a talented player with an extremely high ceiling, but just for this as his rookie year, I mean, he's not getting the minutes to really warrant me giving him anything above a B.
Facts.
And I see Dennis agrees.
Say that one more time. Oh, Dennis Moore agrees. You said.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna give IQ a B minus, and the only reason I'm gonna give him the minus part of that is because if you look at his field goal efficiency, it's way too low for me, especially for somebody that's supposed to be a sharpshooter. His 3 point percentage is damn near the same as his regular field goal percentage. So I want to see him kind of get that up a little bit higher. He's shooting, I think, in the 30s right now, 39, close to 40%. If he can get that to maybe like 43, 44%, maybe even 45, then I would have definitely given him a solid B. But just like you said, he falls into like scoring slumps a little bit, and his
Mhm.
efficiency is something that he can work on throughout the break. So I'll give him a B minus as well. Chat, I see Dennis Moore is giving IQ a B. Let us know in the chat what you guys are giving him. What grade is IQ getting for the first half? Tibbs is killing his minutes. Citizen X, we'll get to Tibbs and his rotations a little later on in the show, because I think if Tibbs would have given IQ a little bit more time, a little bit more playing time in the first half of the season, I think we could have seen IQ potentially be A. Because right now he's a shining star and he's not even firing on all cylinders, if you ask me.
I mean, for some reason, he wasn't even chosen for the Rising Stars
Yeah,
shot.
bro, that had
Yeah,
me tight.
that didn't make no sense to me.
Did you see some of the people on the world team? I'm like, yo, there's people averaging 4 points.
Never heard of. I'm like, who is this? What has he done this year? Like, it's
They
crazy.
added DeAndre Hunter on the USA team, and he's only played 18 games. Meanwhile, IQ's played, what, I think 32, 33 games. He's almost played twice as many games as Hunter, and they gave it to Hunter. And then people are saying, well, it's his home arena that they're playing in, but they're not playing the game, so who cares?
Like, exactly. Like, what that got to do with anything?
Yeah, give it to the people that
Yeah.
deserve it. Crazy. So Citizen X is also confirming that Quickly, in his opinion, is a B. D. Beer, he's also saying it's a B. May 4th, he's talking about Towns and Drummond. May 4th, can you give us a grade? What do you grade in IQ?
He
Let us know
said
down
Beal,
in the comments.
Towns, and Drummond are all losers.
Well,
I mean, technically they
yeah,
are.
technically they haven't
All
really
losers.
won much. He's not lying there.
Yeah, I mean, well, in the same boat, then Oladipo's a loser. He on
Well,
the Rockets. And they're what the 14th seed?
but I guess he's saying they're perennial losers. I think Drummond's only been in the playoffs twice. Yeah, I think
I
Drummond's
mean,
only been in the playoffs twice.
did Oladipo ever make the playoffs when he was on the Magic? I mean, we got to be fair here.
I mean, I hear
And
you.
him, and the year that the Pacers made it when he was injured, that don't count. He ain't play.
Yeah.
He ain't play a minute. He been in the playoffs what, twice? I don't
what you call
know.
it. Warren Franklin is given IQ a B plus. He's still a rookie, so he's going to make more mistakes on the way
Like,
down the line. But that's all about learning. IQ needs to make that rookie team. Yeah, same thing we're saying,
fact.
Franklin. IQ definitely deserved it, and the fact that they left him off, I think, was a slap in the face because he's been busting his butt this entire season. They're saying he's the first one of the first ones in the gym, and you should reward players that are investing that level of time and are that motivated to get better. So he definitely should have been rewarded, but we'll make sure, or I'll make sure, Inf will make sure that we continue to mention that here on the Knicks State of Mind podcast live weekend at 8 p.m.
Where that's the mindset that we wish Knox had.
Shout out to Annuity 25. Thanks for pulling up. Also, shout out to Citizen X. What kind of shade you throwing at Knox just now?
No, I'm just saying. I'm sure we all wish that Knox had the same mindset as quickly. Like first one in the gym, last one out. I had a rough game. I need to start shooting. I need to start improving.
I mean, well, they always said Knox's issue was his motor. So, unfortunately, we're not able to be behind the scenes and see the kind of work that Knox is putting in. But I don't really hear too many people saying what they said about IQ in regards to Kevin Knox. I don't think I've heard anybody say Knox has been one of the first ones in the gym. Not saying he has or he isn't, but I just haven't heard it and being said in the media.
I mean, if you judge by his play, he isn't. But
All right, so after quickly, we're seeing everybody give quickly roughly a B for the most part. Uh,
so you were the only one who gave him a B minus. I gave him a B. We even seen him get a B plus. Nice.
yeah,
Who's the next one?
Obi.
Obi. All right. So for Obi, I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna get hate for this or not, but I gave Obi a C minus. Again, he's a rookie. In my opinion, all rookies start off as C's before the season start, and then they either go up or down. And I feel like outside of maybe one or two highlight dunks throughout this first half of the season, he's been a disappointment, in my opinion. Granted, it's because of the way that not Obi, the way Thibs is playing him, the positions he's getting in, and all that. But I'm just not impressed, and I feel like his value has gone down from draft night to now. So for me, he's a C minus. Hopefully, it changes, but
Yeah, I'm giving Obi a C plus, and the reason I'm giving Obi a C plus is I've seen some flashes when they put him in the right positions to succeed. So I don't want to hold it too much against him and kind of go down from that C level because like we've seen with the addition of Derrick Rose, we saw a few highlights where we actually have Obi attacking the basket, getting the ball as he's heading toward the basket and being able to finish or create around the rim. I'm tired of seeing them try to turn him into a stretch four, and that's not really
yeah.
what he is. He's a player. He's an Amari Stoudemire esque. I don't want to say he's as good as Amari because Amari was able to build out his game. He had a nice mid range, and even later on, he was able to knock down the three consistently. So I understand Obi still has a long way to go, but when you look at the way he's able to use his athleticism around the rim, he should be in a lot more pick and roll actions, and then we should be trying to get some switches and get Obi to attack in the post a lot more, and that's something we're not seeing from Tibbs, and that's why I think it's okay to give him a C plus because when I've seen him in the position to succeed, he's gone out there and made plays. It's in those moments where he's kind of put in a position where he's not comfortable that we've kind of seen him stumble.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, he still has a lot to learn. He's a young player and all that. And it seems like almost all the chat is just saying that Obi gets it incomplete.
Yeah, chat is
Um,
hilarious. Somebody said that Obi needs to take the class over. Black Scorpions production. That's a great comment. Hilarious.
I mean, that's a fact. And Obi, he gets a C. I mean, nah, yeah. I mean, he needs a lot. He needs a ton more minutes, and he just needs to be put in better positions. He needs a point guard,
Yes.
a genuine point guard.
Yeah, he needs a genuine point guard that's going to actually look for him. And we thought, well, I won't say we thought, but Derrick Rose, in the times they've shared the court together, he's been trying to do that. But then, Peyton went down with the injury, and then they had to move Derrick Rose into the starting lineup, and we weren't able to see them play as many minutes together. So as the team gets healthy and we start getting our players back, hopefully they start putting Obi in better positions to succeed. Also, shout out to Warren Franklin. He said, "Congrats, Sports Vibes, for beating Kevin. Trade Knox, please." Yeah, as you guys know, I am still the Blorence Tears debate champ. So thank you for shouting me out. Really appreciate it.
And D-Bird said Obi is seen running over the paint wide open with his hands up and doesn't get the ball. I know that's happened multiple times, and again, that's not his fault. Like that's not on him. That's on the team and the position that he's getting put in. Um,
Yeah, Warren Franklin says I'm Charlie Ward's cousin. I be on Uncle Ron's show a lot. Shout out to Ron, Man show. You guys can check them out. I don't know the actual. I don't have the link to a channel, but if you do search Man, it's definitely gonna pop up. And I love what y'all do. Rep the Knicks, yo. Thanks, appreciate the support. Shout out to Charlie Ward too, right? Isn't that a running joke right now? He's the last rookie that we signed a new deal with or we extended. So shout out to him. So let's move on.
and so,
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, so who's next on our list?
Yeah, RJ, the
I
golden
I
child.
I gave, I gave RJ a B plus. I could even push for an A minus, but the reason why I went with B plus is because one, he's obviously been phenomenal this year. It's just his shooting percentages. Like one, his 3 point percentage is straight up terrible. And a lot of the shots that he's taken from three have been completely wide open. So I just need him to learn how to knock those. Like I'm not telling him to make every shot, but if you're wide open, learn to knock those down. There's even been situations where he's had poor turnovers, which has caused Tibbs to actually bench him for like 1-2 quarters at a time. There was even a time where I think he didn't even step foot on the court in the second half, just because some of the decisions he's making as of late hasn't been that great. So for now, I'd say B plus.
Yeah, me, I'm just gonna give RJ a B. He had the rough stretch to start. Excuse me. He had the rough stretch to start, and he's built himself back up from that rough start, and he's gotten his percentages to a much better rate right now. I think they had graphics. He was shooting 44, 45% from three or something like that in the last 12 to 15 games. So he's been working on that side, but I had to demote him for those two missed free throws. I mean, we were in the game because of him, but if you're gonna be our closer, if I hope
I
at one
told
day he
you.
becomes our closer, and if you're gonna be missing them free throws, they can't. They called you Maple Mamba coming in. Kobe's not out here bricking them free throws like that. He might brick 4 threes in his first playoff game, but he's not bricking free throws in a regular season game like that. So
Even with a torn Achilles, he's hitting those free
yeah, so
throws.
I'm definitely gonna give RJ a B because he's definitely been better than he was last year. And if you were going to rate RJ's rookie season, I don't know what you guys might. I might have given him a C plus. So for him to go up a couple grades and be a solid B, I think is good. Like I would have given him a B plus, but that those two missed free throws are still ingrained in the back of my
Yeah.
head. It's just like, all right, Randall's going to need some help coming down to the end of these seasons and end of this season, and we're gonna have to rely on you in the clutch. So you're gonna have to knock down those free throws, which he's gotten better with, but it's too close. Maybe I'm caught up in the moment. He's getting a B from me. And I think the chat is saying he's getting a B. We see a lot of B. I see an A for sure from Black Scorpions Productions.
I see a A minus from D Burr, a B plus from Jusco. RJ gets a B from Citizen X.
Then it's more saying RJ is a B because he still can't finish at the rim efficiently.
Yeah, I mean he's still got things he needs to improve on, but he's had a great season so far.
Yeah, in the
Let me
last
see.
31 games, he's shooting 40% from three and 46% from the field.
That's decent.
Citizen X is asking, can you guys add more people in the video chats? Yeah, we can. Well, not on the fly. I gotta set it up behind the scenes, but not on the fly. If anybody, maybe I'll set something up where you guys can reach out to me, and maybe you guys can join the video chat with me and Inf. Also, just to take a real quick break from the grades, D. Beard asked a real good question. You guys discuss how a good point guard makes each current Knick better, and that kind of stems from the Obi conversation we were having, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it's obvious the 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 kind of help that a solid playmaking point guard would give to an Obi. Like if you look at the Phoenix Suns, right? look at what they're doing now with only the addition of a Chris Paul, a player that is going to put his teammates in the best position to succeed, and it's not always going to be about them and getting his. I think if we had a Chris Paul type, I'm not saying we should have gotten Chris Paul because that cap number would have been crazy, but I think we would have seen a lot more from a Mitchell Robinson before he got injured. I think Mitch and Chris Paul working pick and roll, not only on the court, but think about what Chris Paul could have taught Mitch behind the scenes in practice. Like Chris Paul, one thing I think all players or majority of players say about Chris Paul is the fact that his IQ is up there. So I think the benefits of a very good point guard is not only going to be on court, but I think it's going to be behind the court. Because, like I said, we have a lot of young players, and their IQ needs to be built up. So to have CP3 and this development staff that we have with Kenny Payne and Johnny Bryant would have been dope. And what do you think when it comes to a good point guard making the Knicks better?
No, I mean I agree. Even Aneldi said like Obi would kill with a Ricky Rubio type. Like we just need a playmaking point guard. Obviously, Chris Paul is literally the top of the top when it comes to playmakers. But if we were to get like a Ricky Rubio, even a Rondo, just players who, like we spoke about earlier, Obi's kind to the basket, pointing up at the rim, and no one's paying attention. Good point guards notice things like that and will call it out. They'll actually find him
Mm-hmm.
in rhythm. A good point guard would lead to a lot of easier fast break opportunities, which would then get people like Obi involved. It could potentially get Knox more opportunities to knock down that
Corner
side
three.
shot. Yeah, like it just makes the teams better because we have somebody who they know they're on the court with. Like, all right, I'm on the court with Ricky Rubio. I know I'm gonna get the ball. I know I'm gonna get an opportunity to score, as opposed to being on the court with Peyton, who is like, all right, he's gonna give the ball to Randall, so let me just get out the way.
Also, just want to
You know?
say salute to Uncle Folio. Thank you for pulling up to the chat. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for showing some love and support. What you call it? Jesco said Peyton is a jump shot away from being a solid point guard in the league. Jump shot and a little bit better vision.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Well, he has decent vision if he's looking at Randall.
That's really it. Like, and I don't know if that's him or if it's the coach telling him to do that. I don't know what it is, but
What you call it? Esmeralda and Duhar is saying, how do y'all envision the Knicks filling a small forward hole for the future? Because I don't see Reggie Bullock as a long-term option. We'll get to Reggie Bullock in the end of the show, but we definitely have to find a long-term solution at small forward. I mean, in a perfect world, Kawhi is going to be a free agent at the end of this year. So in a perfect world, we can bring him on via free agency. But when it comes to trade, go ahead.
that's in a perfect world.
Yeah, in a perfect world. But in order for our world to be perfect, things are gonna have to go left over there in LA. Because I think Kawhi would be great. Outside of him, his load management, like outside of that, I
Yeah.
think as a player, he'd be a perfect Tibbs player. Solid defender. And Kawhi's game, like to look at it, it's not spectacular, but it's just everything is on the point, and he's just able to. It's just hard to put words like Kawhi's game because it's not. I won't say it's super fluid. He's just able to get to his spots, and his mid range is probably one of the best mid range games in the league right now. So I would the only way I would be willing for the team to go out there and make a big move and bring in like a Bradley Beal or a Zach LaVine is if we know we're gonna be able to bring in a Kawhi Leonard and have our own pseudo big three.
No, that's a fact. One Kawhi, he'll give you a quiet 30 every
Facts,
night.
bro.
Like you look like he took like 4 or 5 shots that game.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the box, he got like 35, and you're like, what?
Yep.
He ain't even hype about it or nothing. He's just calm. Like, all right, I'm
Exactly.
resting.
No emotion, silent assassin.
Except that ain't flying with Thibs. Load management, that's not a thing. So that as long as Tibbs is our coach, there's no way Kawhi is coming anywhere near the Knicks.
You think Tibbs will
But
play him too many minutes?
absolutely, like I don't think Kawhi will give it the thought. Like once he hears Tibbs, he's like, nah, it's quiet. And as for Bullock not being our future, like Bullock isn't our right now. Like he needs to be off this team immediately. Like I give him till the 25th of this month to be somewhere else. Um, he's not it. He's not our future. He's not our present. He's nothing. He needs to go. Let me see. Sports vibes. What name do y'all want the Knicks to get? I want names. Um, I'll let you answer that first.
Yeah, I think
Sports
we
vibe.
just mentioned the name. I would love if we were able to get Kawhi. But I mean, I've been saying time and time on this channel, I don't think we should make a move right now. We should wait until the offseason, assess the landscape, and see what the true value of some of these players are. Because, like, as we all know, this is going to be a season that's going to be affected somewhat by the pandemic. So I would prefer the team be smart, be a little patient, and just survey the landscape. And if there is a player that can be had, then if it's a reasonable deal, cool. But I don't want us to go out there and trade 3, 4 first round picks or any kind of deal similar to what the Nets did, because the Nets, to me, made that move because there was a James Harden available. James Harden is a generational talent. I don't think there's any
Yep.
generational talents available right now on the trade market. So that's why I would kind of stand pat until the off season, and that way I'm not throwing off our chemistry and anything of that nature.
I mean, you already know I agree. It's literally like what I said earlier. Like, there's nothing out there right now that I'm just like, all right, this is it. This is what we need to win. Like, this will make us a contender. This free, like, there isn't that talent out there right now. We don't have that available. So, I mean, I'm with you. Like, either stick with what we have now, or trade some of our things, like trade a Bullock, or trade it, for some younger players like Jackson Hayes. Like, try to get a little bit more talent that way, as opposed to keeping on players that we know we're not gonna that are just gonna walk after this year. Like, what are we doing with Frank? Like, now he's starting after not playing, even though he was available. Yet now he's starting for us. Like, what's going on with that? Like, let's make some decisions. Either we're gonna extend him, or let's move him and let's get something else in. But I don't think we should go for any big names right now unless they're for free. Like, they got a buyout and they want to come to the Knicks. Which whoever does wants that, I don't know.
What you call it? May 4th is hilarious. He said Harden is a generational travel. He
That's a
changed the
fact.
game with that little step back. I don't care what anybody says. That's a travel. I don't care.
Absolutely.
Oh, dear travel. And then all the ballers is like, nah, that's not a travel. I'm like, you just saying that's not a travel so you could cheat when you playing your scrimmage games. Get out of here, B. That's a travel.
Like, I'm gonna call that every single time.
Bro, you're not about to take 3 steps before the ball hit the ground again. There's no way. I'm old school. Maybe I'm old school. It's impossible. Even Giannis with his long strides, I don't think he's taking 3, 4 steps before he dribble again. Come on. Travel.
Except that one game against the Clippers, Giannis definitely traveled
Always
with
travel.
that dunk. He
Which
traveled.
called everybody's asking about Drummond. I recently dropped a video. Did you hear that they were saying we're the front runners in a potential Drummond trade? It came out from Sam Amico. I'm like, I hope we're not. Drummond, like D. Beer said, is empty stats. We talked about it earlier in the show. I think he's only been to the playoffs twice, and he's been near tops of the leagues in rebounding year after year. And you're seeing, he's just padding the stat sheet. It's not really leading to wins. And I understand we need a little bit more offense on this team, but I don't think we need that offense coming from the center spot per se, especially with the level
Exactly.
of defense we're getting from Mitch and Noel. So I would prefer us go and try to find somebody to fill in that 3 spot, like a Jeremy Grant or something. Like, if we were gonna make a big move, maybe Jeremy Grant might be an option. He's played some time at the 3. I think right now on the Pistons he's playing the 4. But if we could slot him at small forward, I think that'd be a better move than going after Drummond.
No, absolutely. Drummond is a terrible option. I was arguing with somebody earlier today about this. They're like, "Oh, but Drummond, other teams will want him," and all that. I'm like, "Nah. Like, if we trade for Drummond, we're not gonna like trade him to flip him. That's not the way trades work. Like, we would be getting him, giving up who knows what, and then he's gonna walk after this year. And even if he doesn't, I don't want them to re-sign him. We would
Mm-hmm.
be getting him for no reason. He's not gonna impact anything. He's just gonna take away minutes from Robinson when Robinson's healthy, unless we end up giving up Robinson to get, which would be stupid.
Yeah, I
And
think
like you,
the package they were talking about was Noel and Knox, maybe potentially.
yeah, see, that's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if Drummond had an additional year left on his contract, whereas like next year we could ship him off as that team, but being that this is the last year on his contract, it's dumb to get him.
Facts. Just want to say salute to Robert Paul. Thank you for pulling up to the chat. Greatly appreciated, bro. Yeah, so let's move on to the next player. The next player is Mitch, ironically. What grade are you giving Mitch?
I gave Mitch a B because he's improved from last year, um, but he just still be getting me tight. Like he still gets me anytime he just falls on the floor for no reason. Because every time he falls on the floor, like trying to draw, like get a call, I'm like, yo, you're gonna actually hurt yourself. Like you have glass bones, you will get hurt. And I mean, look at him now. He's out with an injury. Like,
Yeah.
but you know, I'm not discredit his improvement. So I gave him a B. Like he's improved.
Yeah, I've given Mitch a B. He's kind of, he's kind of came and he's jumped over that biggest hurdle, which was staying on the. Well, I guess technically he kind of hasn't jumped over the hurdle because he's not over the court on the court now, but he's jumped over the hurdle when it comes to fouling, and that's a big step in his development because he has to be on the court in order for him to really learn and try to get some of that basketball knowledge from Tibbs and from a Derrick Rose and even Julius Randle. So I had to give him a B. I'm not gonna give him more than that because he still has little to no offensive game, and he's still Mr. Butterfingers. I don't know what's going on with our bigs; they just can't catch the rock, and I don't know if it's gonna get any better with him breaking his hand. So I can't give Mitchell Robinson more than a B, and it's kind of messed up too because right when he got hurt, he was having a game of his life. He had a double-double in the first half, right? And then he went down. And then when he went down, I was like, why is Noel starting the second half? And then they explained it because you saw him shake his hand, but you didn't think it was anything that big of a deal. And then they came back and said Noel's starting the rest of the second half. And I was like, damn, that's messed up. Because I had him starting in my fantasy league, and I'm like, yeah, we have to have a 2020 double-double type game. I was like, yeah, he about to lead me to victory, and boom, gone.
No, I mean, a lot of the chat agrees. I mean, I've seen them give him B's, B plus. Dennis Moore gave him a B minus. I mean, listen, he's just not doing enough for anyone. He still needs to improve. Like you said, he jumped over the hurdle as far as his fouling goes, which is great. But now that he's on the court for more minutes, he just needs to find a way to be more productive.
Yeah, I want to say shout out to Big Task Afand. He's saying what's good vibes. What's up, man? How's everything with you? Hope all is well. Also, make sure you guys are smashing that like button for me. It'd be greatly appreciated. I see 240 in chat, 24 likes. Can you guys bump that up a little bit for me? For me and Inf.
Who's next?
Noel.
All right, Noel. I gave Noel a B minus, just because we're looking at the whole first half of the season, not just the last 10 games or so. And overall, he's been productive. He's been decent, but he's also had certain games where he's almost had no stats at all. You know, he was out there just running. So he's obviously been improving as of late. He's learning to be more productive. Granted, that's because his minutes have gone up, but because I'm judging it off the whole first half of the season, he got a B minus for me.
Before I get into it with Noel, just want to say shout out to Trucking with Mr. Coach. He says, "Sup vibes, the champ." You already know, champ out here. They got called me out until they beat me. You feel me? All right. Now, when it comes to Noel, I'm gonna give Noel a B minus, and the reason is pretty much he can't catch. He would have got a B because he's doing what he's asked in the role that he's been put in. When he was a backup, he was coming in for a solid 16, 19 minutes. He was still giving you 2-3 blocks at a time. And now he's being asked to play 40 some odd minutes some games, and he's still out there giving it his all defensively. He's still being a pest in the passing lanes, and he's still giving you 2-3 blocks a night. And when Nerlens Noel was signed, you really didn't expect him to be in this predicament. We all hoped Mitchell Robinson won the starting center battle and held on to that spot for the entirety of the season. So to see him now thrust in as the starter and being able to hold it down, I think that's perfect, especially when we're only paying him $5 million. So we're paying him $5 million and we're getting similar production to Mitchell Robinson, who we're paying even less. So I can't complain about what we've had too much with our centers. So that's why Mitch is getting a B and Noel's getting a B minus, just because his hands are worse than Mitch from what I've seen. There's been some
Yeah,
times Noel is like, yo.
the chat agrees. D Berg, he said Noel got hands of stone.
Facts. I feel like that was like a perk in a video game, Hands of Stone.
I
That was
don't know.
definitely a perk in a video game. It must have been like a Madden. I can't remember. They gave him Robert
Uh,
Parker's giving him a Noel a C plus. He gives us what we need as a reserve big man, and he has stepped up towards the end and held down our defense. Snapple fact. Dennis Moore is
mhm.
giving him a B.
And then Big Taz gave him a C because he got serious butter hands.
They called him Roberto Duran. Oh, that's where I got Hands of Stone from. Okay, maybe that's what it is. Oh no, I got it from UFC. It's a perk in UFC 4, Hands of Stone. Noel's has Hands of Stone, but he isn't a boxer. Yep. If you could read that last one.
Who's next? Who's next?
This one might cause a little bit of an uproar. We're gonna go with Kevin Knox. And
All
what you
right,
giving your friend Kevin Knox?
I'm gonna keep it G real. I'm giving Kevin Knox an F for this first half. Um, I mean, listen, he has been out there running. He he can't score over 5 points. We've looked at this. I mean, there's a reason why he's gone game after game not playing. Like he is just not improving in any way. Thank you, Raphael Burgess. Agree. Knox gets an F. Like he's been straight up terrible. Like I don't know why out of all the young players we extended him. I don't
Oh,
understand.
they just gave us they just picked up one of his option years. That was just so if they trade him, they still get some pretty decent value. D. Beer is saying Knox equals T for trade him.
Thank you.
Yo, the chat is the
And what
best,
do you
bro.
look at that? Black Scorpion Knox gets a 0. Let's go. I thought I was gonna get a lot of hate for that, but nah.
Yeah, I
Nope.
mean, I gave Knox a C just because I feel like he hasn't been given a fair shake. Like even now, with us only having one center, we're still not even gonna try to employ or deploy Knox as like a small four in small ball lineup. So I'm not in practice. I don't get to see what's going on out there, but it's crazy that he cannot get on the actual court. It's ridiculous if you ask me. I think Tibbs should give him a fair shake. If you're not gonna do it when we don't have any bigs right now to throw at people, and Knox still has decent size. Knox is what 6'9", 6'10". Like we can still put him out there. He can stretch the court. He can make life a little bit easier for Julius Randle. If you want to move Julius Randle to the 5 and let him kind of feast in the paint, you can give him so much space if you got Knox out there at the 4. And maybe somebody might cheat off Reggie Bullock because Reggie Bullock is Reggie Bullock, but you have some options. And I don't know why Tibbs refuses to really give Knox some minutes, but I can't. I don't want to give Knox a F because I feel like it's not entirely his fault. He can only do what he's asked, and even in the small minutes he's been given, there's times where he'll knock down a nice corner 3. And then remember that time when he got garbage minutes and he had that into at like half court, was able to bring it down and then caught the alley oop for the dunk. That was lit.
I guess, but it's bad when the team is in desperate need for your position, which is a wing,
Mm-hmm.
and you get 0 minutes. Like you're clearly not doing something right. Like we are in desperate need for someone who is him, and we won't play him. Like I
It's
mean,
getting
come
so
on.
crazy that we're asking, should the Knicks trade Kevin Knox for Cam Reddish because we need a wing? Like, should we trade a wing for another wing because we need a wing? Well, like, what's up with Kevin Knox? Why he can't do it? It might be his motor. Like you said, we brought in his own coach. It's crazy.
Mm,
I don't know what's going on.
it don't make no sense for me. It don't.
And it's sad because I feel like you look at Kevin Knox and Knox has all the tools to be that player we need. And because we're not at practice and Tibbs isn't putting him in, it's like we kind of, or at least I kind of come at Tibbs. It's like, Tibbs, why aren't you putting him in? And then maybe it's because in practice he's just not it. And I feel like the less minutes, the less games he plays, all we're doing is tanking his value, so we won't even get anything good for him.
I mean, potentially, but also maybe we're trying to hide the fact that he is so terrible and worth nothing. You know, it's like because if I'm another team, I'm probably on the assumption. I'm under the assumption that he's just not getting an opportunity, and maybe he'll do better in our system than he is in theirs. And he's still a dark horse as opposed to being dirt.
Yeah, and Rafael Burgess leads us right into our next grade, and it's gonna be Tibbs. And what you getting, Tibbs?
All in all, I mean, I'm giving Tibbs an A. I mean, because not a single person in this live stream right now can tell me that they thought the Knicks would be the fourth seed right now at All Star mark.
Not gonna front. May
Not a
4th
single.
was wild in the offseason. He was like, yo, the Knicks got it. We got everything we need. It's all on Tibbs now. I'm not gonna front. I'll give May 4th a shout out for that. He was saying that for a minute. But I can't really vouch for anybody else right now.
Exactly. Like, so I'm giving Tibbs an A because he overachieved this season. He took what didn't even get what 10th seed last year. He took that same exact squad basically, and now we're the fourth seed. Like, it's it's honestly crazy. And we constantly question his rotations and the way he distributes minutes and stuff. But look at where he got us. I mean, clearly he's doing something right. He knows what he's doing, and there's a reason why we're finally relevant to other people who aren't just Knicks fans.
Yeah, I'm giving Tibbs a B for the same reason Jesco just mentioned. He's playing the veterans a little too much for my liking. I would have felt a little bit better about Tibbs if he would have pulled Bullock and at least Knox was getting minutes, and we could have been like, okay, Tibbs, we see why you're not playing him. But in the spurts that Knox has been playing, especially recently, it's not like Knox has looked terrible. He hasn't looked that much worse than Reggie Bullock, and he's still in the starting lineup. So I would have given Tibbs a much higher grade. He probably would have got an A because, like you said, me coming into this season, it was not about wins and losses. It was about development. And even though I didn't want Julius in our long term future, it's not always about what I want. And if Julius is going to be in our long term future, he's going to have to continue to play like he has this season. And I think that's a direct byproduct of not only Tibbs but the rest of this coaching staff. So just off that, Tibbs was already at an A for me. What brought him down was the fact that Bullock and them is playing like crazy. I didn't think we were going to be above 500. I was thinking this is just all development. Let me see my young players start to blossom, and then we can start making some waves next year when we know who's going to be here long term. Well, this year we see Julius Randle's probably going to be here long term. We see RJ Barrett deserves to be here long term because he's also gotten better. We've seen IQ, even though Tibbs is wilding and not playing him enough minutes, he still looked and gotten better, I think, game in and game out. Like at the beginning of the season with IQ, he really he really couldn't go left too much. Like now he's going left a little bit and he's not over relying on trying to draw the foul or trying to come across with his right hand to drop that floater. He's gotten better in that regard. So I think with the way that some of these key pieces have developed, like I said, Randu, RJ, and IQ, he can be worthy of an A. It's just the fact that Bullock and them are playing too much. And Obi, he hasn't been using Obi in the right way as well. So he dropped down to a B for me.
No, that's fair. I mean, the reason why those things didn't impact my decision is because him coming in, I knew that he wasn't that was not the coach we're getting. We're not getting a David Fizdale who's gonna only focus on developing the players. Like Dibs, he ain't
David
about that. He's
Fizdale ain't
about
worried about developing nobody. He's coddling everybody. That's what he is. He's a glorified
yeah,
babysitter.
he really is. But like, we knew that he was gonna come in and just focus on the players as opposed to Tibbs. Like we know he gonna come in and he gonna do what he needs to do to try to get some wins, and that's where we at right now.
Yeah. I mean, if we were, let's say we were like 5 games below 500, 7 games below 500, I would have given Tibbs an F because we would have been doing all this losing and Obi not getting too many minutes. Knox is getting no minutes. IQ, his minutes fluctuate, but at least we're winning and these players are being exposed to a winning culture. I think that's very important. That's why I said it's not always what I want. I wanted Knox to get 20 some odd minutes. I wanted Obi to get 20 some odd minutes. But if Obi's only going to get 15, but at least he's going to be in a situation where we're winning and he's learning what it takes to be an NBA professional day in and day out, that's something I'll live with. Because we may not see the games this season, but we definitely will start to see those games 2, 3 years from now as he starts to develop and gets older.
I mean, true, true. I mean, regardless of what though, I feel like this is still a good year for Obi to be on the Knicks, just because he gets to see what the Knicks look like when they're winning. You know, he gets to feel the Garden experience when winning is actually happening, and hopefully, it motivates him to work harder. That way, he ends up being one of those players on the court that does that. You know.
Yeah.
Um, and so the last grading would be the rest, basically.
Burks, Bullock, and
Bird,
Payton.
yeah, Bullock and Payton. Um, you know what? I originally wrote down C minus for them, but then after like really discussing this year, and we're having a good year, and we're seeing players improve. I see C minus turn into a D plus for them just because they're not it. I mean, Alec Burks, he doesn't count for me, which is why I guess you took him up. But for Burks and Payton, yeah, Payton is straight up awful. I feel like when he's on the floor, everything's stagnant. We've complained about this all year. Yes, he's had like 4 games where he scored a lot of points, and he's helped us. But aside from those 4 games, he has Randu vision, and
Randall
that's not
Vision.
helping
Oh,
anybody.
live on Disney Plus, Randall Vision.
See, D-Verb, Peyton equals T for trade. Like, anytime I think about Peyton and his no trade clause, I get angry. Like my blood boils. I hate the fact that if we wanted to, we can't just give him away. However, I did read a report that Clippers might be interested in him,
Hmm.
and if that's the case, I mean, hopefully he would want to go to a potential championship team.
Eh,
Fingers crossed.
I mean, I'm giving that grouping Burks, Bullock, and Peyton. I'm gonna give them right around the same thing you gave them. See, what did you say? Wait, no, you changed it. You went down to a D.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a C minus, and now it's a D plus.
yeah. I'm gonna give them just a regular C minus because they are terrible, but I can't act like there haven't been some games where they actually helped us win. You know what I mean? So I won't give him a.
Yeah,
I don't think there's too many games where I can say, "Oh, we definitely." Well, then again, Bullock did have that stupid turnover. In this, who are we going against? Bullock had that stupid turnover, and then Alfred Payton was running away from Julius Randle when he was trying to give him the ball, like Payton, not the point guard. Yo, I, that was probably one of the most stressful times I was sitting here watching the Knicks game, and I'm like, "Yo, what are we doing? This is clutch. Stop acting like a fool." But I'm gonna give them
make
Go ahead, Inf.
it makes you hate them, right? Like, yo,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, but I'm
I
gonna
hate.
give them a C minus because they have contributed. There's been a couple games where Peyton had a 20-point performance where we really had to rely on him. And there's also been games where Reggie Bullock has been lights out from three, and we needed every one of those threes. So I'm not gonna sit here and give them a F completely because they have contributed to the team winning. So I'll give them a C minus, barely passing. They just getting through each class.
Yeah, me now they got to take the year over.
All right. Before we wrap it up, D.B asks a good question. Who's your second half starting five? That's a great question, D.B. Appreciate it.
Hmm, that's a hard question to answer. I mean, honestly, it's probably going to be similar to what we have now. With even if Peyton's healthy, I would rather still start with Derrick Rose. Um, I would love to see quickly in the starting lineup, but that's probably not going to
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Yeah.
I would probably go Rose, RJ, Randall, Robinson, and Bullock.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, because we don't really have too many options internally, like I would love to put Kevin Knox in the starting lineup. I just don't think it'll be realistic for me to come on here and say, yeah, Knox is just going to be inserted into the starting lineup just to see what he can do. So I'd probably something similar to you, Rose starting, and then RJ either at the 2 or the 3, and I'd probably have Burks over Bullock. I think,
Oh, I forgot.
yeah,
You're right.
I think Burks has a little bit, but then again, I don't want Bullock in the second unit with IQ because I think Burks and IQ play well off each other. Because there's times Burks can initiate the offense and IQ can kind of just do his thing off ball. It's just so weird because we got Burks and Bullock just doing nothing. Well, I won't say they're doing nothing, but they're not just really giving us much production at that 3 spot. Mm.
I mean, fingers crossed we're able to get Redick by trade deadline.
You think we'll get
Because
Redick?
then I
If
hope,
we're gonna
like, fingers
trade with the
crossed.
Pelicans, I want Lonzo over Redick.
Well, obviously, I mean, I would take Lonzo too because he's actually shooting lights out this season. I don't know. I guess seeing his brother flourish made him want to step his game up. So I'll take Lonzo too. But if we can't get Lonzo, I'm fine with a Redick because I feel like he fits exactly what we need. Someone we can trust to knock down that shot 100% of the time.
You'd start him though, or have him come off the bench? Because if we have
I would
Redick,
start him.
you start him.
Yeah, I would start him.
Yeah, I'd probably have Redick off the bench maybe, and then start Burks.
No, I would start. I'd start Redick.
And then at least off the bench, then you'd have IQ, Redick, but then you still have Bullock at the three. Oh no,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you're starting Rose, Randu, what's his name, RJ, and Robinson, like you need at least one person who can knock down the three.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to put Redick in that starting lineup.
I hear you. Or what you call it? Robert Parr is saying, is Rivers really that bad that he gets 0 minutes? I mean, he really only had 2 games that you could say he was good. And he was
Yeah,
really only
after that,
good in like a spurt. Like it was like a 4-minute flash. It was like, boom.
yeah, but he won that one game for us, and then it was quiet after that.
Yeah. And then he had another. What was the game where he had a hot first half? I can't remember the exact game.
Oh yeah, and then scored absolutely
In the
nothing in the
second
second
half,
half, right?
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was literally after that second half, it was quiet. Like I don't think he touched the court since.
What do you call it? May 4th is saying to Robert Parr that Rivers isn't really that bad. It's just Tibbs' dumb rotation. I mean, Rivers hasn't really showed me anything to really make that determination, to be honest with you.
Oh, and Young King Frey, clearly Lonzo is way better than Peyton, like by far. If
Also,
if we could finagle the trade, I would.
if just some other news. Maybe I don't know if everybody in the chat knows yet, but Miles Powell got picked up by the Bucks. Did you know that?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, Miles Powell got picked up by the Bucks off our G League team, which kind of sucks.
I mean, it sucks for us, but good for him.
Yeah, good
Like
for
I don't know
him.
why. I don't know why we didn't give him a chance. Apparently, he's a walking bucket.
Mm-hmm.
He's just short. I'm see the next Bucks game. I'm gonna pay attention. See if they give him any minutes.
Yeah, we couldn't give him a 2-way contract to kind of keep him because I think right now we have Pinson. And I keep forgetting who's the other one. It's Pinson and dang, what's the other dude that don't play? I can't remember. He's currently in the G League. But yeah, we definitely lost Powell. We also brought in Festus Ezeli. You remember Festus Ezeli?
That sounds mad familiar.
Yeah, he played for the Warriors way back when.
Oh yeah, Festus Ezeli.
Yeah, we brought him in. I guess the Knicks. The thing with him is he had a lot of injuries to his knees, lower body injuries, and he's been out of the league for some time. You've seen him pop up here and there in the media as he's been like an analyst or a commentator, but we brought him in.
Why the hell did?
Go ahead.
Why? Why did we do this?
I guess we took a flyer. Right now we need big man help. We don't have Spellman anymore. We got rid of Spellman. Yeah.
I mean, because he looked out of shape in that one game he played, though. I ain't even gonna front.
Yeah, exactly. So we got rid of him, and I guess we're gonna bring in Ezeli, have him play a little bit in the G League, see if he can give some spot minutes while Gibson is out. That's what I'm thinking the Knicks are gonna end up doing. Also, D-Bird is saying Kyle O'Quinn. Yeah, they also have been having discussions about bringing O'Quinn in.
You know what? I don't know why. I mean, wasn't he like low key disrespectful to the Knicks when he was leaving, or like went to the Pacers or whatever?
I have to Google that. There were some kind of rumblings where things didn't end on the highest note, but did he? I think he went to Philly after us. Did he? Really? I don't remember where he went after us. I think it was Philly.
Wherever he went, he was irrelevant.
He was irrelevant here for the most part.
Well,
he's just a big body.
Would you like to see us trade for Kyle Lowry? I mean, with Lowry, I heard that he's trying to go to Philly. I mean, Lowry ain't bad. I don't know. I don't view Lowry as like a. I don't know. He's not like a top point guard.
Game changer.
No, I think he's a good point guard. Like I would like him on the team. I don't think he's like a superstar or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah,
He's a champion, but I don't like he's not. Nah.
yeah,
Like I would like him to like a Mike Conley right now, like a Jazz Mike Conley.
yeah. Everybody's saying
Is
you're right. And O'Quinn went to Philly after. I mean, not Philly, Indiana after.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like Lowry. I think Lowry would be a perfect point guard for a Tibbs. He's a point guard that'll move the ball. He'll also play defense. He's one of those Patrick Beverly types that'll get under your skin, but he's Patrick Beverly with
Yeah,
offense, with the ability to shoot, the
exactly.
ability to score. So I would like a Kyle Lowry, especially if it's going to be cheap. I think that would be a perfect solution to at least now in the near term to solve our whole that point, our starting point guard. It's just what are we going to
Mhm.
give up? As long as we don't give up anything crazy, because the last time we traded with the Raptors, they did us dirty.
Oh, freaking Bariani.
Yeah, Bargnani, bro. How dare they? 2 first-round picks for Bargnani? Bargnani at that
Yeah.
point was already a bust or looked at like a bust.
Yeah. And then iGamer, he was like, Knicks need Drummond on a buyout. That is the only situation in which I would want Drummond on the Knicks
I still
if
don't
he
know
got a
if I
buyout.
take him on a buyout. Because just think about the
Uh,
chemistry issues, Inf. You're going to bring Drummond in. Mitchell Robinson is then going to lose his starting spot. And I don't like any player losing their starting spot due to injury. I feel like you bring Drummond in, I think at their points at the same, not the same spot, but right now in their careers, Drummond is the better center, I think, when it comes to what he can contribute both offensively and rebounding wise. So he would come in and be the starter. I don't think Mitch is going to respond well to that. Like I got a couple videos where Mitch seemed like was in his feelings a little bit when it was a legit battle for the starting spot between him and Noel. So I don't want Drummond to come here and then everything goes off the rails. That's the last thing we need is a whole nother tabloid era right now.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, me personally, I'm not tied to Robinson as our center for the future. Like, I'm not. I don't think he's going to be that for us.
It's
You know,
interesting. It's interesting you say that too, because the team is like what 7-2, 7-3 since Mitch has been out.
yeah,
So his
like,
his value is kind of looking like it's not that high right now, at least for us in terms of needing him to win.
yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I wouldn't be mad if I saw a Robinson trade happen. I mentioned this earlier in the season too. I mean, I'm not tied to Robinson the way that a lot of Knicks fans are. I think he's good, but there are a lot of centers out there that I would take over him.
yeah, I hear you. So if you aren't subscribed already, now would be a great time to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. Inf and I, we go live every weekend, 8 p.m. We won't be going live tomorrow. It's the All-Star game, right? Inf, we're gonna be. Well, I'm
Yep.
gonna relax and watch the All-Star game. What you gonna be doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. No, I'm gonna watch the All Star game. I want to see who's gonna win the 3-point contest. That's the most interesting thing to me, at least. And I hope they do the All Star game similar to how they had it set up last year, though,
What?
where like, you know how like they did the thing at the end for Kobe, like where
The tribute?
once it got to no, like once it got to the fourth quarter, it was like the first team to like
The
24 points or
24.
something.
Yeah, one of the
Like if
same setup.
yeah, like if they do something similar to that, where like it has to be competitive to finish the game and win it, like that was lit.
Yeah, I think they did it. Whoever won the first quarter got something. Whoever won the second quarter got something, and then I think that's how it was. But I think the way they're gonna do it now, they're gonna have a lot of the events at halftime.
No. I'm talking about specifically for the All Star
Or
game.
just the All Star game. I think everything's gonna be happening, and then in halftime they're gonna do the dunk contest. So it's not gonna be like most years. I think where they do.
No. I Gamer confirmed what I was talking about. He's like they are doing the 24-point thing
Okay, they are.
because
All right,
like
cool.
when it got to the fourth quarter, whoever had more points,
Yeah, I know.
like let's yeah, like
Yeah, they
so
did
you
it
have
for like the
more,
first few quarters, I think, and then the last quarter it was a different rule. I think that's how it was, right?
no, the first three quarters were regular, like just regular quarters, and then the fourth quarter though, whoever let's say one team had 100 points at the fourth quarter, that means the first team to reach 124 points
Yeah.
wins the
Okay.
game.
Thank. Okay. Yep. All right. Got you. Now I get it. Now I get
So,
it.
yeah, that's
I'm
what
a
I'm
little
saying.
slow. My fault. Takes me a little.
That's all good.
Takes me a little while to come around.
That made it crazy because like you could be down 30, it don't matter. All you gotta do is get to that 124 points first. So
Yeah.
that's when it got competitive. Like
Yeah.
so if they do that again this year, I'm not gonna bet on the game. That way I could actually enjoy
Yeah.
watching it without
You
being
got a gambling problem if you betting on that. You probably better prop bet too. I bet you.
No, no, I bet it straight up last year for Team LeBron to win, and then they won, so it was lit. But I didn't watch I didn't watch the last 2 minutes because I was just nervous. I'm like, yo, come on, come on, come on.
I,
So this year I ain't betting on it. I'm just gonna watch it, enjoy it, like, and that's it.
I ever told you LeBron saved me? Like, what was it? What was the year they beat the Warriors? Was that 2016 or 2015?
Yes,
I ever told
2016.
you he saved me from your bookie? Bro, I must have been down like $700-800. And and I was like, all right, if I lose the money, that's cool. But I wanna, because I was rooting for the Warriors because I don't really like LeBron like that. I very much dislike LeBron. I mean, not even front. So I'm betting, hoping that the Warriors win, and I keep losing. Because this is when they had the 3-1, was it 3-zip or 3-1 lead? And I kept
Yeah,
betting on the
3-1.
Warriors to win, and I kept losing. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to give LeBron the satisfaction that I'm going to bet on the Warriors again. He's going to win, and I'm going to lose a bunch of money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bet that I'm going to hedge my bet. I'm going to bet the Cavaliers win. I'm going to bet LeBron win MVP. And I also bet that Kyrie was going to win MVP. So I'm going to do all
Yeah,
those
around.
bets. So just in case I lose, at least I could be happy I'm up. And just like that, I'm on the LIE coming home from work, bro, and I got the game on one of the sets, and I'm watching, and I'm like, yo, I'm really about to sit here and really cheer for LeBron, bro. It was crazy.
And yo, it was.
I
And
think I won like 800 beans too. I went from down 800 to up 800. That was a hell of a swing.
nah, yeah, it was lit. I ended up like 250 at that because of LeBron winning.
Mm-hmm.
And real quick, Nando, he was like, "What do you think of these trades? One, Mitch, Obi Toppin, Frank, 2 or 3 first-round picks for Karl Anthony Towns,
Pass.
or Frank Nitty, Peyton, 2 seconds for Marcus Smart." I hate both those trades. I think they're both awful.
Damn, that's harsh.
That first one, I mean, Karl Anthony Towns. If we're talking about somebody who can't win a game to save their life, that's Karl Anthony Towns. And to give up Obi plus 2 or 3 first-round picks for Karl Anthony Towns,
Yeah, that's a lot.
that is
That's a
out of
lot.
control.
Yeah.
And I would be fine with Frank and Peyton for Marcus Smart, but throwing in 2 seconds as well, he's not that
I
person.
think
Like
Frank could be a Marcus Smart type player at his peak.
yeah, it's just Marcus Smart is already that. Like
Exactly.
he will not threes. He plays defense. But I'm not giving up Frank, Peyton, and 2 seconds. Like it's the 2 seconds. I'm not giving that up.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this show up here. Make sure you're subscribed. Once again, we go live weekends at 8 p.m. Also, make sure you smash that like button. And if anything else you want to get off your chest before we get off, you watching the fight tonight?
Oh no, I'm not.
If you what, bro, you gotta watch the fight. As soon as I get off this, I'm paying for the fight, and I'm gonna have to send Maurice the link because we're gonna do a sip of starting a new show called Sibling Rivalry here on the channel, and it's gonna be me and Maurice talking about the fights.
Well, if you buy the fight, send me the link and then I'll watch it.
I bet. If not, you could try to use Crack Stream. Ooh, I shouldn't have snitched on him. My fault. Yeah, you could try that too. That's what I'm gonna try first. If that don't go through, then I gotta fork over the $60.
All right. It's been real, everyone. Catch y'all.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in.
I'll let y'all. Once again, I'm Quis, joined as always by Inf. This is the Knicks State of Mind podcast.